This is the Porsche 911 GTS, and it occupies the middle ground in the 911 range between the tamer Carreras and the ballistic GT3 and GT2 models. Compared to the Carreras, the GTS looks a bit more menacing with a sport design front fascia, mirrors, wider rear body, black center lock wheels, and badges, but forgoes GT car exterior staples like humongous wings and fender vents that some may see as garish for the street. The interior is fancied up some with power sport seats, an Alcantara steering wheel and shifter, and brushed black aluminum trim. Standard infotainment items include a 7-inch touchscreen, satellite radio, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi capabilities, an 8-speaker sound system, and Apple CarPlay, but not Android Auto. For power, the 3-liter inline-6 gets bigger turbos for more boost, pushing output to 450 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque, giving it a 30 horsepower and 37 pound-feet advantage over the Carrera S. With the dual-clutch transmission, 60 miles per hour comes in 3.5 seconds, and it hits a top speed of 192 miles per hour. And that's freaking fast, but the great thing about the GTS is that it's also a fine daily driver when driving it like a regular person. In normal mode, the adaptive suspension has enough give, steering isn't overly hefty but is responsive, and the drivetrain is slick when light-footing it around town, returning 20 miles per gallon in the city and 26 miles per gallon on the highway. Inside, the front seats are comfortable, and unlike the GTs, there is a back seat for kids or adults you don't particularly care for. A cool thing about this particular car is that there's not a bunch of optional fluff here. However, there is one noteworthy option on this car that requires us to go somewhere special to fully appreciate. And that's a racetrack to give the rear axle steering system a workout, which along with the sports suspension system, torque vectoring rear differential, and Pirelli P0 tires make the GTS an excellent corner carver. Brakes are strong and grip is immense, with the GTS going wherever you tell it to. At least until the Pirelli tires get hot and greasy. That's when the front end begins to push some. Laying into the throttle brings instant thrust and great noises from the sport exhaust system. Since this car has a PDK, it's got launch control and a sport response button that puts the engine and transmission into an optimal acceleration setting for 20 seconds. It's like a push the pass button on an Indy race car that helps you get by slower traffic on the road or track, or make quicker work of straightaways. Of course, around here at Gingerman Raceway, the GTS isn't as tied down as a GT3. It doesn't brake as hard, grip isn't as plentiful, and it isn't as planted through fast transitions, but it's still hugely capable and an excellent track day dance partner. Really, I don't think too many people are going to come off track in their GTS and say, man, I really wish I had a GT3 instead. Now, I know there's some people who want a GT3 still over a GTS, and I would too if it was for a second or third fun time car. But if you're looking for a 911 to drive primarily on the street and for occasional track days, the GTS is the best option. A little more visual and performance kick and a package that's great both on the street and track make the GTS the sweet spot in the 911 family. And with a $120,700 base price, it saves you a nice chunk of change compared to the $145,000 GT3.